Senator Lindsey Graham scolded law enforcement for not immediately shooting Capitol rioters. And that's according to new reporting by the Washington Post on the events that transpired that day. They write that the Senate and House leaders also had been evacuated by Capitol Police and taken to an undisclosed location, but many lawmakers remained in their chambers for a few minutes before they were led to safety in the Hart Senate office building. Now here's the relevant part. Senator Lindsey Graham was irate that senators were forced to flee their own chamber. He yelled at the Senate Sergeant at Arms, "What are you doing? Take back the Senate. You've got guns, use them." The South Carolina senator was adamant. "We give you guns for a reason," he repeated, "use them." So he wanted the authorities to use their weapons immediately as soon as the Capitol was breached by these Trump supporters who in their minds were going to reverse the results of the 2020 general election. Now, Graham's comment was recounted by the Washington Post. A Republican senator spoke to the Washington Post and told the reporters about what he had heard from Senator Lindsey Graham on that day. Now, despite claims from Republican politicians that the riots were no more than just a tourist visit, Graham was in fact clearly concerned. So Graham, the South Carolina senator who was one of Trump's closest friends in Congress, called Ivanka Trump repeatedly with suggestions for what the president should say. "You need to get these people out of here," he told the president's daughter. "This thing is going south, this is not good. You're going to have to tell these people to stand down, stand down." So he was absolutely panicking. And there was some backlash when he later publicly on cable news had some negative words for Donald Trump. And we'll get to his backpedal on that in just a minute. But Cenk, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, so look, it's not fair to call Lindsey Graham a complete coward because it was a really scary situation. A lot of people were really scared. And that's why one of the officers eventually did use their gun. And they were chanting about executing people. They chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," who's a Republican. They talked about going to murder Nancy Pelosi. And so Lindsey Graham was not wrong in that moment to even to panic. There are moments to panic. And when somebody's coming to murder you, that's a good time for it. And he's not wrong to say, "Hey, police, this is why you have a gun," right? But for him to now turn around and pretend that it was no big deal, no. As usual, you're a sniveling liar, Lindsey Graham.
So he's a little different from the Gosars of the world, right? Like you'll have Paul Gosar, who very well might have actually conspired with the rioters. That's part of the investigation that's currently taking place. And of course, he's minimized what happened that day. However, Lindsey Graham has kind of changed his rhetoric from being critical toward Donald Trump and his incitements to now just mainly focusing his ire toward Capitol Police and their refusal to resort to extreme measures, right, to get the situation under control. Now, immediately after the riots took place, he said, "Trump and we've had a hell of a journey. I hate being this way. Oh my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president, but today all I can say is count me out. Enough is enough." Now he said that on the day of, as soon as lawmakers were back in session to finally, what do you call it? Certify the election. In February, Graham expressed his anger with Capitol Police. He said, "I got mad. I mean, these police officers had every right to use deadly force. They should have used it. The people in charge of securing the Capitol let the country down."
And remember, if he denies any of the new quotes coming out, that's on the record.
Right, and as usual, he did immediately backpedal following backlash from Republican voters. In an interview with Sean Hannity, he praised Trump and openly admitted that Republicans who go against him would be erased. So let's take a quick look at that video.
What I said on your show got people all riled up, but it's just common sense. The most popular Republican in America, it's not Lindsey Graham, it's not Liz Cheney, it's Donald Trump. People on our side of the aisle believe that Trump policies worked. They're disappointed that he lost. And to try to erase Donald Trump from the Republican Party is insane. And the people who try to erase him are going to wind up getting erased.
And I think he really did tell on himself there, right? Because, in a moment of panic, I think justified panic as a result of the violence that took place that day, he was honest about his feelings toward Donald Trump. And he says enough is enough. But he's always tried to do this balancing act where, he wants to kind of avoid things from really falling apart, but he also wants to be this Trump loyalist because he thinks he benefits politically from doing so.
Yeah, I mean, he's a standard politician. He's a great example of a politician. He's a great example of why we despise politicians as a country. They usually in the polling get somewhere between 7 to 13%. They peak at 13%. So an overwhelming majority of the country absolutely hates politicians. The only people who don't hate them are people in media who tell you that they're honorable people, that are swell, great people, that are having honest policy debates. Okay, so in this case, now of course the sniveling coward is back to sniveling for Trump. And talking about how if you don't agree with him, you'll be erased. Well, you almost experienced that personally, Lindsey, didn't you? Where you were literally afraid for your life. That's why you were screaming at the cops, use the gun, kill Trump supporters because they're about to kill us and erase us. And now you turn around and go, well, I'm not in mortal danger anymore, but the rest of the country is, but I don't care about them. I'm going back to my corruption, my greed, my sniveling, etc. So understand what these politicians are about. And if the rest of the media is telling you, oh no, Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, and by the way, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are wonderful people, and all the hundreds of millions of dollars they've taken never influences them, and they have consistent positions. They're having a debate. They're all, what do they think about policy? They don't care about policy at all. They just care about raw power. So he was wetting his pants during January 6th, and now he's recovered and he's bought new pants with campaign donor money. And so now he's back to kissing Donald Trump's ass until the next time they try to murder him and his colleagues. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.